Hello and welcome back to Rams Talk Podcast. And we're here today with a slightly different episode. First off, it's a Thursday night, which feels very weird. And secondly, we're not actually going to be talking about Derby today. We're looking ahead to Euro 2024. Luke, who's in, is already shaking his head. Derby will come up at least once. But we're talking about Euro 2024. Obviously, recording this on the Thursday. First game's on the Friday night, Germany v Scotland, with England kicking off their tournament on the Sunday. So we've got loads of predictions, loads of previews, and we're looking forward to having a chat about the biggest games of the summer. Joining me today, first off, regular guy, Jamie Page. How are you, Jamie?
Yeah, I'm good. This is the only time I will wear red, ever.
We'll see. We'll see about that. We're also joined by Luke Pingu. How are you, Luke?
Good, thanks. Looking forward to this, seeing what everyone's opinions are. That'll be good.
Yeah, I know. There's going to be some delusion, and I know exactly who the delusion's coming from because we've also got Will Hough with us. How are you, Will? That is your introduction.
Yeah, excited for the YouTube debut.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, cut him some slack. He's never done anything like this before, and I'm sure we'll tell. So, I mean, just to kick us off, we really wanted to talk about the England starting 11. It's been a big sort of hotly contested debate on social media over the past few months. You know, who's going to get called up, who's not. We know the squad now. Some massive players that have missed out, bizarrely. Obviously Jared Branthwaite, who's had a great season at Everton. Jack Grealish is another big one who's missed out. But we know the team now. We know the players we want. I'm definitely going to go last on this because I think mine's absolutely spot on. So, Jamie, I want to hear your England starting 11. Go on, what are you thinking?
So, am I allowed to include players that are not currently fit or deemed?
Yeah, we'll go strongest.
Ready?
We'll go strongest.
Okay. So, my starting 11 would be a 4-3-3 formation. And I would play Pickford. I'd then play Luke Shaw. I'd then play John Stones, Mark Gay, Trent at right back. Actually, no, sorry. Carl Walker at right back. I'd then play a 3 in the midfield of Trent, Declan Rice, and Jude Bellingham. And then my front 3 would be Palmer on the left, Kane through the middle, and Foden on the right.
Comments on that, Luke? Because I saw your face then.
I mean, I'd switch the wingers because, Foden's naturally always on that left side for City. Ideally, you'd put him in the middle, but yeah, I'd switch the wingers. And other than that, it's not bad. That's, it's 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10.
Go on, Luke, give us yours then. Let's hear what you've got.
So I got Pickford in goal, back 4 of Walker, Stones. The toss-up between Gahey and Konza is like a coin flip, in my opinion. I think that'll be interesting to see what Southgate goes for. I've gone for Konza. I just think a little bit more game time end of the season. And then left back, if he is fit, Luke Shaw. Obviously, if not, it would be Trippier. Then midfield, Declan Rice and Kobe Mainoo holding. Bellingham just in front. Cole Palmer on the right. Foden on the left, and Kane up front. So it's not that much different, but it is at the same time.
It's not far off. It's not far off. Go on, Will. What's your? So for context, Will has already told me his in the past, and if he deviates from what he said before, I'm going to be very upset because it's interesting. Let's put it that way.
No, I'd say it's pretty similar, to be fair, but it's just the shape's a bit different. If we're saying in a similar sort of formation, we've gone Pickford in goal, back 4 of Walker, Stones, Gahey, and Luke Shaw. My midfield 3, I've gone for similar to yours, Luke, but with Wharton instead of Mainoo. So Wharton and Rice, Bellingham just ahead. And then Saka on the right, Foden on the left, Kane up front. But formation-wise, I'm kind of picturing Luke Shaw bombing up, Foden kind of cutting into the middle a bit more, Walker shifting in for a bit of a back 3. Kind of get Foden and Bellingham a bit more of a kind of like a box midfield, really, with Rice, Wharton, Bellingham, Foden. It's kind of my thinking.
It's interesting. It's definitely an interesting thought. I mean, mine's probably not far off a combination of yours, Luke, and Will's. I've gone for Pickford in goal, back 4 from right to left of Alexander-Arnold, Stones, Gahey, and Shaw. two in midfield of Gallagher/Wharton or Rice. I genuinely can't pick between them. I think you need to have some sort of midfield balance. So probably I'll go with Wharton because that's the popular consensus, and Declan Rice. And then Saka on the right, you've got Bellingham in the middle and Foden on the left, and then Harry Kane up front. I've gone with that because if you have Trent on the right putting crosses in for Harry Kane, surely that's got to work. Surely.
Well, it depends, doesn't it? Because if he wants to drop deep, then who's he popping the ball over to? I mean,
Foden.
I saw a report. Yeah, potentially. I mean, I saw someone's 11 that was suggesting that Trent should start and Anthony Gordon should play on that left, just as an absolute outlet on that left-hand side, which I get. I think, for me, I think you've got your absolute nail players. So you've got the likes of Kane, Foden, Bellingham, Rice, Stones if he's fit. I think they all have to play, Pickford as well. And then it's just picking those players around it. And, for me, I think a lot of people seem to hype up Saka. And I don't think he's clear of the likes of Gordon, of the likes of Eze, potentially if you played Eze out there, Bowen. People seem to rate Saka a bit more than those players, or potentially a lot more. I don't know what you guys think about that. Like, is he as good as everyone is making him out to be?
What do you reckon, Luke? Because I like Saka. I think he's a good player. I think his numbers are great, especially for his age. His numbers are great. I think the reason why I put him in over someone like Palmer is that he's got a little bit more movement about him. He's got a little bit of pace. I know he's not rapid, but I think that England team is lacking pace across the majority of the team. There's no real out-and-out quick players, apart from probably Kyle Walker, who doesn't really like to go forward either. What are you thinking?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think Southgate will probably go Saka. And apparently I think Trent is due to start, whether it is in the midfield or right back. And I think it'll be midfield because I don't see him dropping Walker. So I don't know what he's going to do with, I assume it'd be Rice, Bellingham and Trent. But in my head, I don't know. I do like Trent. Obviously great at the delivery and free kicks and everything. That'll be great. But you just think against Serbia, would you want a bit more physicality in the midfield? That's what I was thinking with Kobbie Mainoo in there. He can actually win a ball, where Trent not that great in the tackle.
I mean, potentially. I mean, Will, it's like you said, he's been rumoured to have already been picked to start. He's been given the number 8 shirt, which is obviously more of a centre mid number than a fullback number. I mean, like Luke says, does it concern you a little bit having? Because I mean, Rice again, he's great at winning the ball. Trent maybe not so much. If you don't have two solid players in there, it can leave you open a little bit against especially bigger sides.
Yeah, to be honest, I like Trent, but I just couldn't find a place for him in the team. I think for me, the only option was at right back instead of Walker, and I think the defence isn't good enough. So I think that's why I kind of put Walker in. And I think in the midfield, I don't know. I watch City kind of every game, and all it's about is that control in the midfield and the balance in the midfield. And I just think that Trent, Rice and Bellingham, I don't think it has the balance. And I think a player like Wharton, where maybe experience and quality is not kind of as high as Trent, I think profile of player, I think he's more like what that midfield needs to kind of function, really.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, let's have a look at England's group. I mean, we've got Slovenia, we've got Denmark, and we've got Serbia, right? Serbia, obviously, big physical sides. Derby fans know Mitrovic all too well from the many times he's played against us, and most of the time scored against us as well. Denmark, again, have some real top players, maybe more of an aging side than they would like. Slovenia, very weirdly, so I decided to do a career. They've got the Euro 2024 mode on FIFA. Decided to have a go with Slovenia because they've got ex-Derby midfielder Timmy Elsnik in the centre of midfield, and I was surprised actually how many good players they have. I mean, obviously Sesko plays for Leipzig, really good player, really exciting player. He's got pace. He'll stretch the pitch. He'll get in behind. And then obviously you've got the magician that is ex-Derby Academy midfielder Tilly Elsnik behind him. I mean, Jamie, who's going to be the biggest test for England out of those?
I think on paper you'd probably say Denmark. I think if everyone was to say who they thought from just looking at the group initially, it probably would be Denmark. However, I don't look at it and think it's an easy group. I think it's a group we should win, but I think we're probably going to have to ride our luck at times. And if it's anything like last Friday, we're going to be bored to tears for 90 minutes. We're not. Well, I know we shouldn't judge a performance on a friendly, but yeah, that was dreadful. So we're definitely looking for a reaction on Sunday, and hopefully we see that. But I think a lot of people have talked us up, and for me, I don't know if we've got that cohesion that we had at the last Euros. I don't think we've got the experience in certain areas. So yeah, that's kind of the worry. And I think at the back, I mean, you look at the front six or the front five or whatever you want to say, and they're probably the best front five in the tournament. France potentially would argue that, but I just think at the back we're like a Palace, or we're like I don't know, trying to think of a team that I'd compare us to. I don't think we're a top six side at the back. We're maybe like an Everton, something like that, which is absolutely fine. But does that win you European championships? I'm not too sure.
Well, that's it. And Luke, we've talked for quite a while about England's problem being the midfield. It was always Rice and Phillips is always quite uninspiring in centre mid. We've got a few options there now, a few exciting ones. We've already mentioned Wharton, we've mentioned Mainu, but that defence now looks like a real problem. Harry Maguire dropping out is a huge issue. I mean, when you look at some of the teams in there, Denmark, Serbia, they will be physical and they will push England around a bit, and England's main option looks like Mark Gay, who's barely played all season due to injury. I mean, does that concern you a little bit going into the group stages?
Yeah, a little bit. I was obviously genuinely surprised with Maguire not being in the squad. Apparently he's injured, but I'd have had him with Stones, because that feels like a lock-in to me, Stones and Maguire. And he's not gone. I know he's not done well for United, but he always performs for England, Maguire. And against like Serbia, when they're going to have Mitrovic up top, you need Harry Maguire there to hopefully deal with him. But I think Konza, in my opinion, should be okay with Mitrovic. And obviously against Denmark, Rasmus Højlund, obviously they've had experience in the Prem this season, so hopefully can deal with that. And yeah, Slovenia are a tough game as well, to be fair. They're not easy. Oblak in goal, best keeper in the world, debatably. You do worry if you get like a draw against one of these first two games, you're putting a lot of pressure on that last one to get through. That's the worry.
And Slovenia is that third game, I'm pretty sure. So that's certainly been an interesting one. I mean, Will, talking there about the defenders that we've got available, I thought one of England's problems in that last game was we couldn't really break them down. I think we struggled down the left-hand side, having Trippier there. We had no one to overlap. We had no one who wanted to use their left foot. Trippier can't put in a ball with his left foot. Cole Palmer definitely didn't want to go anywhere near his left foot. It was just a bit of a strange day and a bit of a strange game. We don't really have any options at left back other than Luke Shaw, and then obviously Trippier as well, with Shaw being the only natural fullback that England actually have. I mean, going into games against teams that are going to sit in, England are the clear favourites in every game, so it's highly likely that teams like Serbia are going to sit in and try and beat England on the break or try and score from set pieces, a bit like Derby. Which, could easily, very, very easily go against us. I mean, how do you see Southgate tackling that, and how do you see England overcoming those sorts of obstacles?
To be fair, I think the only other thing I can think of is, in terms of who else has played there this season, it's been Joe Gomez, who doesn't really answer that problem of kind of going forward and giving us a bit more to break down teams. But I think you might have a bit of an option there to perhaps put Gomez on the left. He can kind of tuck in a bit, and then I would be more comfortable with Trent on the right in that situation. Let him kind of be the creative outlet and kind of let Gomez tuck in a little bit more, because that's kind of what Walker's going to do on the right-hand side. He's going to be that kind of defensively solid. So maybe switch it around the other way a little bit. Yeah,
potentially. I mean, it's like you mentioned, dropping into that three. A lot of teams are fluid. All of these players that have played that sort of system before, won't they? So they'll all understand it. And Gomez has a year of experience doing it. And I do remember when they actually announced the team, they said Gomez was coming as a left back as well, which I thought was quite interesting. So yeah, we'll certainly see. I want your predictions for the groups now. Who are the two teams that are going to go through? I'll ask you first, Jamie. You've got obviously loads of knowledge about the likes of Slovenia and Serbia. I'm excited to hear your prediction.
More than you know, actually, Jake. Because I spent all day looking over teams and form and everything like that. No, I think for me, it's going to be England top in the group, and I'd say second is going to be Denmark. That's probably who I'd say advance. I just think Denmark probably got across the pitch too much. I quite like Mæhle. Is he left back or right back? Luke, you'll be able to tell me that.
Yeah, right back.
Right back, Mæhle. I think he's a good player, and I think they're just naturally just more of a well-rounded, solid team. Arguably, maybe more solid and well-rounded than England. So, yeah, for me, it would be England and Denmark advancing from the group.
Luke.
I do that on paper makes sense, but I could very easily see a Slovenia or Serbia sneaking. Obviously, the third place team also can get through to the knockouts. So yeah, I'll be controversial. I'll say Slovenia second, England top, and then
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Well, what do you reckon?
I was going to say Slovenia second as well. To be fair, England top, you'd like to hope so. And I was kind of again thinking, on paper, you'd think Denmark, so it probably might not happen. So I was going to go Slovenia as well. I think they got a good keeper and a good striker.
Well, I'm going to say Serbia and Slovenia are going to go through. No, you'd hope it'd be England, wouldn't you? And again, I thought I was going to be really cool and niche by saying Slovenia, but I think so as well. Watch them lose every game and just get bumped straight out of the tournament first time of asking. But yeah, I think Slovenia have the possibility to upset a few this year. So this is an interesting one. So dark horses / biggest surprise. Now, it was a big thing, wasn't it, in the World Cup that Turkey were going to be the dark horses, and then they got battered by everyone. I think they conceded 3, 4, or 5 in every single game they played. So let's put our suggestions out there. Jamie, who's your dark horse?
It's an interesting one. I think I'm going to say Germany, and that might sound a bit of a surprise, but I think the Germans are saying that they've got absolutely no chance, and they're probably on paper as weak as they've ever been. Aging midfield, having to play Havertz up front, and not having too much in depth in other areas of the pitch. So I think whilst later on I might give an opinion that shocks based upon this, I think for me, potentially Germany are going to be the dark horse of the competition.
Can the host nation be a dark horse?
Yes, of course they can.
Unless it's like South Africa. I'm not sure. It's a good shout, though. It's a good shout. What do you reckon, Luke?
My dark horse is Hungary, who are in the same group as Germany. I just think Hungary have got, Dominic Szoboszlai from Liverpool. You got Willy Orban at defence. Obviously, they beat England 4-0. What was it, a year or two ago? Yeah, I could see them doing well in that group. Obviously, Scotland, they'll be interested to see because they did really well in the qualifiers, but when they get to the actual competition, I could, if they don't perform, obviously they'll be out. So yeah, Hungary for me. And even, as I said, Slovenia, Slovenia have got some surprise, like Sesko up front and Oblak in goal, and then some good players in the middle, that
Timmy Elsnick.
They could be that underdog, real, because nobody's going, oh yeah, Slovenia are going to do well this year, are they? So why not?
No, good shout. It's good shout. Will, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen quite a few people say it, but I probably agree with it. And I was going to go Hungary as well, to be fair. I think if you look at their form kind of over the last couple of years, it's been like surprisingly good. And then even thinking about it's like last World Cup, they're in the group of death, and they got kind of some good results in that group as well. I think it's almost to the point where kind of I think they almost feel a little bit like the Turkey of the World Cup, but for this Euros now. But I think
they're going to lose 5-0 every game.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. I think Hungary are a great shout. I thought Hungary as well, but then I was having a look at the groups earlier. And I've picked out Czechia or the Czech Republic.
Yeah, Czech Republic's a good shout.
Yeah, they're going in. I mean, they've got a pretty solid defense, which I think is, when it comes to dark horses, they need to be tight at the back, don't they? And they tend to do quite well.
It's a doable group.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I've written down. I mean, they're with Portugal, Georgia, and Turkey, the aforementioned Turkey. So they've got a real good chance. I mean, Portugal look a decent outfit this year. Georgia, again, I mean, Kvaratskhelia is their best player, isn't he? And he's not been really at it for the past sort of 12 months. So, yeah, I think they've got a real good chance to advance and a real good chance to do pretty well. I think they've got quite a deceptively good side. So, yeah, we'll have to come back to this after the tournament and see which one of us is just miles away, because at least one will be. And now onto the other side of it, flop of the tournament. There's always one big country that ends up bottling it, losing every game, and dropping out nice and early. Jamie, are you going to say Germany by any chance?
No, I'm not. I'm actually not. No, I gave away maybe one of my next answers, but I think for me it's got to be one of Spain or Italy. So it's a bit of a toss-up, which I was going to answer for this one, but I'm going to go Italy. I think Spain will advance. I think Italy are going to get knocked out of the groups. I just don't think they've got it, which is so unfortunate, because I think if we'd got them in the final this time round, we'd definitely beat them. And I think they had problems even when they won the last one. So yeah, for me, I think Italy are struggling a little bit. So yeah, they're going to be my flop. Italy should be getting out of a group stage regardless of who they've got playing for them, and I just don't think they're going to get out of that group.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that group. I can't even see it.
Spain, Croatia, Italy, Albania.
Yeah. That's a
easy.
tough group. That is a tough group. Are you still not over Southgate going defensive after 5 minutes?
No, but I think the thing with Southgate, and I was going to say actually in my answer to the question around the team, is I think he's probably going to go and look at it as, this is my last chance. If I don't win this, I'm gonna lose my job. So he's lightened up on the attire. He's not wearing his waistcoat. He's now wearing knits and other casual wear, and I think he's just going to pull the handbrake down, and we're going to see maybe a different England that's not as pragmatic and boring. Well, hopefully that's the case.
I don't think the last game showed that.
To go off.
No, what do you reckon, Luke? Flop of the tournament?
Yeah, I agree with Italy, to be honest. They're a great shout. Belgium as well. They're looking, Lukaku's not been in form. There's only really De Bruyne in that team now. The defense is so old. No Courtois in goal. You've got who's that goalkeeper? It's like Sells, Castiles, Mabrouk. Like, I think there's about 10 caps between the three goalies that they've picked, which seems really strange because you just take Courtois. Is it? Oh, who's the Belgian? It's what's his face? I can see him. He's the little Italian.
Still Martinez.
No. He's gone Portugal now.
He has. Yeah, you're right.
It's the old Leipzig manager. Let me have a look. Belgian manager, because I don't know why they gave him the job. That's what I'm a bit confused at. And it's I don't know if they're like flops though, because they haven't really. Tedesco, that's it. Dominic Tedesco.
Oh yeah.
So he's like a young manager, but he's not really achieved all that much in his career, in my opinion. But I don't know. I just don't see it with Belgium or Italy, to be honest. Both of them are lacking massively.
I know you're a kit man. You're a kit man, Luke. What do you think of their kit?
Belgium's kit. It's nice. Yeah, nothing wrong
if you haven't seen it, it's what, light blue and brown.
Is it? I've not seen the new one.
Wait, it's the one they wore against England.
Oh,
it's like a light blue teal and then.
That's nice. Yeah, that's nice.
You're a fan.
Yeah, it's different. But I don't know if you can call Belgium and Italy flops, because the actual squads that they have, like in my opinion, a flop would be like France or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
England.
Yeah, England really flop in the tournament. But they're the two for me, Belgium and Italy.
Interesting shouts, Will.
I mean, I'm not sure I quite believe it, but I've gone France.
Out of hope.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's an element of like kind of big teams doing well and then falling off a little bit after. Like, I'm thinking about like Spain, Germany, kind of doing well in World Cups and Euros and stuff, and then falling off a bit. And I think France kind of won the World Cup and they haven't really fallen off. They've kind of just kept doing good. So I almost feel like they're due a bad tournament, if that makes sense. And I think when you actually look at their group, I think Netherlands, Poland, and Austria, I think it's kind of deceptively like difficult, that one. So Yeah, I'm kind of going a bit rogue on that one, but I'm going to go for France.
I mean, they've got Mbappe, who most would say, he's probably at the peak of his powers now, isn't he? Just moved to Real Madrid.
I'm going to contradict myself a bit later.
Yeah, I think I know what you're going to say. I mean, the rest of the team, though, I mean, their defense looks stacked. I'm not too sure about Maignan in goal, but the midfield, I mean, there's a lot of aging players in there as well. It's an interesting one, isn't it, France? Because I mean, you talk about Spain. Was it the Netherlands who beat them 4-5-1 or something like that? Van Persie scored that diving header, which has become, I guess, legendary by this point. And that sort of signaled the end of Spain's international dominance. Can you see France capitulating in that way?
I don't know. I just think that it's based on nothing on paper. Like, you look on paper, you go, they're great. They've got a great squad. You look at their results, you go, they win everything. Like, everything points towards them doing well, which is, I don't know. I don't think football's just like that sometimes. I feel like they're just due something bad to happen. And so it's pure, that's purely the reason.
Manifestation. I like it.
Much, yeah.
And I've gone for, I mean, you mentioned there what would actually constitute a flop. I've put the Netherlands, and I think they're going to flop simply because I don't think they'll make it out of the groups. Because when I look at that Netherlands team, it's not good. It's not good. I mean, a lot of their better players are aging now. I mean, Wijnaldum, who's been such a key player, I saw clips of him recently looking like he's never seen a football before. A lot of their attackers are getting on a bit as well. I had a look through their squad earlier, and I mean, they're in a group, as you said, with France, Austria, and Poland. I genuinely can't see how they get out of that because they just don't look the force that they were. I know they did quite well in the World Cup a year and a bit ago, but I think they've lost that momentum now. I know their recent results, they've won like 4-0, 5-0. But at the same time, I just can't see them doing well. Watch them win the whole thing now. Now I've said that. But I just can't see them doing well.
They did lose Frankie de Jong, and Cooper Minor's literally like last week injured, so they've had to. Yeah. They've not even brought in like for midfielders. They've brought in Ian Mattison, who's a left back, and then Joshua Zirkey from Bologna up front. So I don't know why. Like, lost 2 midfielders, but we'll get an attacker and a defender in. I like that.
Makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, interesting. That very interesting. Interesting. They've brought in such a big game player in Maatsen as well. Is he uncapped? I'm sure he's uncapped.
He might be, yeah. Yeah, he is uncapped, yeah.
Yeah, and in his last game, he did quite well, didn't he? Got a good, great key pass for Real Madrid in the Champions League final.
Good assist there.
Good assist. Right, now, the one where everyone's going to contradict themselves, I'm sure. Who is going to win the World Cup? Which team is going to win? The World European Cup. Who is going to... I've actually written World Cup here on my notes as well, by the way. I don't know why I put that. Who's going to win Euro 2024, Jamie? Who do you reckon?
I'm trying to work out what I said earlier to make myself make sense, but I was basically plotting England's route to the final, and I think we beat France but lose to Germany in the final. I think we play the best we've ever played against France and maybe even beat them like 3-0 convincingly, and then we end up losing 1-0 to Germany. So yeah, for me, I just can't look past Germany. I know on paper they've not got the best of teams, but I just think that home factor, the fact that it's Kroos's his last game ever, won't it be, that when he last plays? So I think there's a story there, and for me, I think Germany have the dark horse potential to go on and go win the title.
Well, after who was it who said they were weak? Was it you, Will, who said they were the weakest team, as like the weakest Germany team?
But I think everyone's weaker, aren't they? Everyone's weaker. I mean, you look at squads of the last 10 years, and I think you'd say that every squad, the big teams, maybe not your France, but your Germany, your Spains, your Italys, they're all weaker. They haven't got the caliber of players that they had. And I think that's why, as England fans, we're getting carried away, because we're thinking of Kane, Bellingham, Foden, and thinking this is our golden generation. It's not, but we're probably as good as the likes of Italy, Spain, and who's the other one I mentioned? Germany. And in previous years, we haven't been. So that's probably why there's a sense of expectation.
Wow. Luke, what do you reckon, mate? Go on, say it.
I've gone for England. I've gone for England.
Come on.
Why not?
I love the optimism.
I'd like it for Southgate just to win the competition, then resign. That's what I would like, because I think going forwards, like as I said in my midfield, Rice, Kobe Mainoo, and Bellingham is a three that could play there for the next like 6-7 years as a three. Obviously, Adam Wharton putting in the competition for places, but yeah, with the clubs that they're at and obviously the quality they are, I don't see how that midfield changes. But yeah, I just think, you know, it's one of them. We just need Foden on his game. We need Kane on his game and Bellingham, and then we should be okay. It doesn't matter if the others aren't doing well, as long as those three are at their peak in terms of performances, then we should be okay. That's how I see it. Those three,
like it.
you know, Foden needs to just be on it and score some goals from outside the box. That's what we need.
I think he's on. I saw something the other day. He scored 2 goals in 35 games for England, Phil Foden. And it's a weird one, isn't it? I mean, why do you think he can't replicate his I guess domestic form internationally?
Oh, I guess City are just better than England, aren't they?
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
the players at City around you, then you know. But probably style of play as well. It'd be different, and then even just like on a day-to-day basis, obviously he's there with Pep, and Pep's telling him, "Oh, do this, this, and this." Southgate's got him for like 2 weeks, and obviously might want him to do something different altogether. So I get why it's not, but if he can click this tournament, then that's, you know, ideal.
Yeah, let's hope you're right. And Will, who do you reckon is going to win not the World Cup, the Euros this year?
I've gone for Netherlands.
Wow.
Yeah, on that one. Again, I'm not. I wouldn't put money on it. It's not. I've gone for flop France and Netherlands to win it. Like I'm not particularly. Not strong on the opinion, but I don't know. I just think that, again, maybe due a bit of a rogue winner, and I think they've got a good defense.
If Van Dijk hits his Van Dijk in there, I was putting up for potential player of the tournament, Van Dijk, because he's that kind of.
I was thinking similar, because I was thinking if Netherlands did do well, I think they'd do it because of the defense, and I think Van Dijk's the main guy in that defense. You got like Van Dijk, De Ligt, Ake, De Vrij, Van der Ven. Like they've got a lot of good defenders there. They're pretty solid, and I think sometimes defenses can win you things, can't they? Obviously got the likes of Xavi Simons and people like that up front. I don't know. I'm not strong on the thought, but I thought of someone trying to go a bit different. But yeah.
So I think they're going to crash out in the groups.
Yeah.
And you think they're going to win it?
So they're going to come like mid. They're going to go out in the quarters then. So we're both going to be drastically wrong.
No, one of us will be right. I'm sure one of us will. And Jim Johnston agrees with me because he thinks that Germany are going to win it. And I think that Germany are going to win it. I just feel like we've said already, I think every team is weaker pretty much. There's one area in every team that is substantially weaker than it's been previously. And I just think that Germany, you know, they've got some good players in that team. I know they talk about Havertz playing up front, but he seems to find the back of the net when he plays for Germany a lot more than he does domestically. And obviously Füllkrug getting the call up as well. He was a real handful in the Champions League for Dortmund, and he's one of those players that you can bring on, probably a bit like Weghorst in the World Cup, where you bring him on and he's just a handful for defenders, and he can cause chaos in those big moments. A bit like a Cameron Jerome or a James Collins, you know, these sorts of quality players that can come off the bench and junior and make a difference, and and hopefully inspire the team to. Well, I say not hopefully. I don't want them to. I'm so used to being positive on here that hopefully they lose every game, but I think they've got a real good chance of doing quite well. And from that, who do you reckon, Jamie, is going to be top scorer?
Top goal scorer, I think it's going to be Kylian Mbappe. I think it's going to be the Mbappe tournament. It's going to be the welcome to Madrid, and I think he's going to go and score a lot of goals. I also think, looking at that French team, he's probably the first goal scorer that you say in every single game that he'll score. And if he scores once, typically Mbappe goes and scores twice. So for me, I think it'll be Mbappe, hopefully closely followed by Kane.
So Luke, what do you reckon?
I've gone for the better French striker. I've gone for Olivier Giroud. I just think Giroud's there. He's always there. He's always there with the goal. That's what he's there for. And it will be his last tournament because he's gone to MLS now. So it'd be nice for him just to get that as a accolade, obviously, for France.
Was it when they won the World Cup where he didn't score a goal?
I think so,
yeah. So he'll go the other way and he'll score every goal now. No, I like it. Well, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I've completely contradicted myself. I've gone Mbappe. France to flop and go out in the groups.
15 goals in the groups.
Yeah, I'm not predicting both of those will happen. I'm thinking maybe. Yeah, I don't think you can look past Mbappe. He does it in the kind of international competitions more than anything else, doesn't he? So you can't go against it.
And I've tried to be rogue because sometimes you need a little bit of that. I've gone with Federico Chiesa, not just because he's in my fantasy team, but also because I think, when you watch him play, especially in the Champions League for Juve, against teams that have a high line and want to control the game, he tends to have a lot of success. He's got the pace. He can get in behind. And I think he's going to do well against the likes of Croatia, against the likes of Spain, where, their defenders aren't necessarily rapid. If he's up against, I think Spain have called up Carvajal. I don't know every player in every squad, but I'm pretty sure they've called up Carvajal. If he's up against the likes of Carvajal or someone like that, I think he could have some joy. So, yeah, I just wanted to be different because I knew everyone would probably say Mbappe. So I've gone with Chiesa, just hoping he'll get me some points, to be honest, because I ran out of money when I got to that point.
Rafael Leao's a good shout as well for Portugal. I think I'm on that left hand. You'd expect Ronaldo, but I think Leao has the more energy to break these teams down.
Bruno Fernandes, maybe same team.
I was just about to say that. I think Fernandes is going to have a good tournament.
Timmy Elsnik, Slovenia.
Yeah.
You never know.
We'll definitely score against England. You know it, don't you?
He will, yeah. He will.
Definitely will score against England.
Pulls off his Derby shirt underneath.
I mean, hopefully we're 5-0 up at the time, and gladly he can take my clean sheet from Pickford. But yeah, that's the kind of player that will score against us for sure.
No, absolutely. And the most important one, individuals-wise, so we've got our winners. We know who's going to win the tournament now. It's going to be one of Germany, Netherlands, France, England. Who is going to win player of the tournament? Jamie?
Well, for me, I'll say Mbappe. Let me log in Mbappe because that's who I genuinely believe. But if you want me to be a bit rogue, why don't we go for Mikhail Mudryk, Ukraine? For some reason, I think he's going to have a good tournament, and I think they're going to get out of the groups.
He does have a top knot now, worth keeping in mind.
Exactly. You've got to be good at football if you've got a top knot. Andy Carroll, who else had a top knot?
Derby,
Gutierrez at Newcastle. He had a top knot, didn't he?
Any Derby players had one?
Raul Albentosa.
There we go. Only the good players then.
Yeah. That's the top knot for them.
Go on, Lou. What do you reckon, mate?
I've got Foden. If he replicates what he's in the Premier League Player of the Year, and then England Player of the Tournament, that would be ideal. In terms of a rogue shout, I wouldn't mind Dominic Szoboszlai for Hungary. Obviously, if he gets some goals for them, takes them to like semi-final, kind of like Wales in 2016. I could kind of see that kind of happening. But no, Foden for me. Got to do it. This is his tournament. Been waiting.
I love your pro-England stance. It's great. You love it. What do you reckon, Will?
Like my real bet is Mbappe again. I think it's a sensible one. But like I said before, I agree with Luke. I was kind of tossing it up between him and Van Dijk. To be fair, so like I say, I think if Netherlands did do well, I think Van Dijk would be the guy that would get it. And I also think Bellingham's got the PR, hasn't he? So I think if England do well and he's played all right, I just feel like he'll get thrown into the mix. He's at Real Madrid. He's like, I feel like he's got the PR for it.
I was going to say, because I've put Mbappe, obviously, because he's always going to be the favourite for that sort of thing. But I was thinking of other PR merchants. Bellingham was the first one that came into my head. You've got Van Dijk. You've got Rafael Leao, who I don't think he had a great goal-scoring season, did he? But going into the Euros, he's one of the hot favourites. Ronaldo, if he ever scores a knockout goal, he might get one. Trying to think of who else. I think it's going to be someone we don't expect. I really do. I think
anyone
the
in
Euros
that
has
Germany team, as
any-
we've said that. Yeah, I mean, as we've said that they might win. Me and you have said it.
Yeah.
Is there anyone there that's got potential to get it? I mean,
Schlotterbeck. Yeah.
Schlotterbeck, yeah.
What a player.
Musiala.
Musiala, yeah, another good one.
Florian Wirtz.
Yeah. John McGinn. You know, you've got some big players going to this tournament. Unfortunately for him, Calaros will not be in goal for any of the games he's playing, so he won't get any free goals this tournament.
He won't win ahead of them.
Yeah, I know he won't win any. He won't win any. So, right, there we go. So we know who's going to win now. It's going to be one of those 4 teams. We know who's going to score all the goals. We know who's going to win player of the tournament. So that about finishes it off. Have any of you got any more rogue predictions? Any more ridiculous things that you think will happen? You know, will Georgia reach the semi-final? What do you reckon, Jamie? I'm going to put you on the spot. Come up with something. Give us something. What do you believe?
What do I believe? I think it's going to be a thoroughly enjoyable tournament for England until we lose in the final. I think we're going to lose in the final regardless. Whoever it's against, I don't know. For me, I think that the hype around Bellingham is right. I think he's a fantastic player. He's a fantastic person off the pitch. I just worry if it's all a bit too much for him. He seems that he's unflustered and he's this like robot that doesn't feel any emotion. He's come off the back of a Champions League win, and I think maybe his confidence is going to be sky high. But will his teammates be able to give him what he needs to be that player of the tournament, or the same level as he can be for Real Madrid? And I just don't know. So I think potentially you may come out of this and think that Bellingham hasn't had a very good tournament, and I hope I'm wrong.
Luke, what do you reckon?
To be honest, Ukraine shout going far isn't terrible with their group. Obviously, if they get the momentum there, Czech Republic. I don't know what else could maybe happen. It'd be interesting. Like I really want Kobbie Mainoo to get some minutes, because what I've seen at Man United, you know, that is a player that's going to be at Man United for the next decade, and obviously the England's set up for at least 6 or 7 years. So if he can, help us get the win, that'll be lovely.
Let's hope so. And Will, go on, give us a rogue prediction.
I think I threw most of those into my actual ones, didn't I? Yeah, I've got nothing left. I don't know. I don't think England are going to win it. Maybe it's pessimistic. I don't think we've got it in us. I don't think Southgate's. Yeah,
the one.
He's not the one.
I just can't see us getting over the line. I can see us doing well, and maybe, like you say, kind of getting a good victory along the way or something. But I don't think we're going to get over the line.
Well, on that somber note, we've got 2 very quick comments. Vic says that Hungary can be the dark horses, agreeing with you, Luke. And Jim says Belgium are going to make the semi-finals. So let's see if any of these come true. Luke's not convinced. So thank you so much for listening. Obviously, I know it's a bit different. We usually waffle about Derby, and now we're talking about actual good teams. But thank you so much for joining us. You did enjoy. Please do subscribe. Please do like. It makes a massive difference. And if you listen on Spotify, Apple Pods, all of them, give us a rating, especially if you enjoyed it. Give us a 5-star rating. And we very much appreciate all of those and all of you guys. So it is goodbye from me.
It's Auf Wiedersehen from me.
Ciao from me. Different language, Will. Come on.
Au revoir.
There we go.
Come on, Will. This is a PG place. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening, and we will see you soon.